The San Francisco Bay, one of the great natural harbors of the world. The San Francisco Bay lay undiscovered by naval explorations for 200 years. Ships during the 16th to 17th century relied on wind propulsion and stayed away from shores to prevent wrecking on rocks. From a distance, Alcatraz and Angel Islands were in the line of view, making the narrow entrance of the Golden Gate appear like a solid coastline. In addition, fog, which is one of the characteristics of the Golden Gate, obscured the entrance to the bay. Surprisingly, the San Francisco Bay was discovered by accident during a land expedition by Gaspar de Portoya only in 1769. After its discovery, the number of vessels entering the harbor each year increased quickly, with thousands entering during the California Gold Rush of 1849 and beyond. In the 1880s, San Francisco became the whaling capital of the United States. During this time, hundreds of vessels wrecked along the entrance to the bay. What the whaling captains did not realize at the time was that San Francisco Bay is the second most dangerous to navigate in the United States after the Columbia River Bar. The average depth of the bay is only 12 feet, the deepest being under the Golden Gate Bridge at 372 feet. In addition, treacherous waters lurk just outside the Golden Gate. Thousands of years of watershed and sediment from the Sierra Mountains and river streams have flowed through the bay and have been deposited just outside the bay. This is called the San Francisco Bar, a horseshoe-shaped shallow water sandbar that begins at Point Bonita, runs out about 5 miles, and curves back to the shore just south of the Cliff House. During low tide, the water over the sandbar may only be a few feet deep. Consequently, in the early 1900s, the Army Corps of Engineers dredged a narrow 2,000-foot wide, 55 feet deep channel down the middle of the sandy bar to allow shipping vessels to enter the bay. This channel is maintained year-round. In the 1850s, bar pilots began under state authority to guide whaling vessels of the past and now large vessels of today. The bay is home to both historic vessels, military ships, and thousands of smaller vessels, including ferries, yachts, pleasure boats, and sailboats, both large and small. These bar pilots are highly skilled captains who have intimate knowledge of the channel's currents, depths, and buoys. They navigate vessels including oil tankers, container ships, and cruise ships, many of which are much larger than the Transamerica building. San Francisco is now the 5th largest port in the nation. 10,000 vessels enter the bay each year. I was honored to have the opportunity to interview the most prestigious bar pilot in San Francisco, Captain Tom Miller.
Okay, our job it's a state requirement. A pilot is compulsory in the state of California for any vessel over 300 gross tons. And our job is to board the vessel 11 miles outside the Golden Gate. And we actually take con of the vessel. Between the captain and the navigating officer and myself, we steer the ship in through the narrow channels and take them to the berths. Well, the ships have definitely gotten bigger, and with technology, bigger ships equate to deeper ships. Deeper ships, bigger ships also equate to higher ships. The challenges that we're encountering now is that a lot of the channels have not evolved the way the ships have. We're taking ships that are almost twice as big as when I first started through the exact same size channels. And that is probably the most challenging. We're having ships now that are minimum clearances on the bottom and also minimum clearances on the bridges.
However, being a bar pilot is an unforgiving job that can sometimes take disastrous turns. On November 7, 2007, the Costco Bazan, a 900-foot-long container ship, struck a support tower in the Bay Bridge in heavy fog, rupturing the hull and spilling over 53,000 gallons of intermediate fuel oil into the San Francisco Bay, poisoning fish and wildlife and killing over 2,400 birds, fouling the shoreline. The pilot was sentenced to 10 months in prison and permanently lost his pilot license. Today, the bay is home to both historic military ships and thousands of smaller vessels, including ferries, fishing boats, yachts, pleasure boats, and sailboats, both large and small. They share the same beautiful harbor called the San Francisco Bay. It is a delicate balance to ensure that the health of the bay, wetlands, and marine life will be protected in the future while the commercial ship traffic continues to grow. There will need to be careful stewardship to ensure that the San Francisco Bay remains one of the most beautiful, ecologically sustained ports in the world.